Okay. Yeah, welcome to KHTV. And on the studio, we have Esther Obaiwa, who is the immigration consultant. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I
So,
have
Esther,
a, I have a bit of a cold today, but yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Now, Esther, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
So my name is Esther Baiwa, and I am a citizen of America, a resident of Minnesota for the last 14 years. And in those 14 years, I think I came into the US through a program called Asylum. That's part of the things that we will be talking about today. I'm a
Mm,
mother of three teenagers.
mm,
I'm a business owner. I own an healthcare staffing agency. I
mhm.
own a care immigration consulting business and a nonprofit for youths.
Okay. Well, now, tell us more about how did you become an immigration consultant?
I mean, it was something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I decided to do it because all of us immigrants that have come here, we have gone through some sort of immigration process. And
Okay.
my own case, it was a little bit complicated, but the fact that I was able to process through it without even needing to pay the high fees of an attorney to do anything for me, it
Mhm,
challenged me because during that process, there's a lot of misinformation I was given, there's a lot
mhm.
of fear that was put in me, but
Okay.
now that everything is done and everyone in my house is a citizen, I'm like, wait a minute. I can do this as a business while I'm helping people really understand that they have a choice of getting help with the migration processes without incurring the high attorney fees and
Mhm.
or even consult with someone to understand what their next step in immigration looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have to get any training on immigration?
In any business, to be honest, in order for you to do well or even know what you're doing, you
Okay.
have to go through some form of training. You're not going to just start a business out of nowhere if you are not well equipped with the knowledge that you need to be able to run that business.
Mm,
Yes, I was able to attend an academy that I just finished about 2 weeks ago,
mm,
and this academy talks about immigration processes, business in general, and it answers a lot of questions. And what that academy does, it gives you access to attorneys that
mhm.
you can directly work with if there's a case that you cannot handle or you need to refer someone to an attorney.
Okay.
Yes.
So, explain what are some of the challenges you see? Like you say you went through an asylum process
Yes.
to come to where you are. What are some of the challenges you face?
Oh, I
Like,
have faced a lot of challenges. One of the biggest challenge that most of people, including me, face is being misinformed.
missing.
Misinformation. It's you're told, oh, if you say this, you're not even gonna get your resident card. You're not gonna get your citizenship. If you start saying you have kids now, you didn't say you had kids when you came in, you're gonna get yourself in trouble. And I'm so glad that I did not listen to any of that because I could not be where I am today, or my kids will not be with me today if I listen to any of it. And
Where is what are these voices you were receiving? Better you derive
yeah,
what you are telling him.
so like my case, when I was coming to the US, the interview in Kenya, I said I didn't have kids, but I had three kids at home. So I left them behind. I said I don't have kids. I got here, and the first, so with asylum, the way it goes, I'm going to talk a little bit about that while I talk about my challenges.
Mm,
Asylum, you're supposed to file the form I-130 within 1 year of your arrival in the US.
mm,
So within that 1 year window is when you want to file your asylum. If you
mhm.
do it after, then that automatically disqualifies you.
So it does
So
have 1 year window. Yeah.
it's just 1 year window. Within that 1 year, if
Mhm.
you go over even one day of that 1 year, you're automatically disqualified from the asylum benefits. So in order for you to get the asylum benefits, there are several options of it. You have to file the Form I-130 within that 1 year window.
Now, you said you went to the interview. When you were coming, did you come as asylum or you came on a different category
I came as an asylee.
from back?
Yes.
And what was the motivation that you did not include your children then?
Because I was told if you say you have kids, you're not going to get this visa. And
So okay,
most of us are told the same thing. If you say you have kids, if you say you're married, or you don't say you're married, you're not going to get the visa.
so you listened to those voices,
At that
and
time, yes, because I didn't know.
okay,
Yeah.
now you came here, and then what did you do after you arrived?
After I arrived, after 1 year, I filed for my green card, which
Mhm,
went just well. First, I was introduced to an attorney. I remember very well. One of my family members took me to an attorney and introduced me, like, "Hey, this is so and so. They're gonna be helping you." So I sat there with that attorney and I asked her, "Hey, so what are you gonna be helping me with?" And she
okay.
goes, "Well, just in case you get into any trouble, I can represent you. But how sure are you I'm going to get into any trouble?" It's like, I really am not sure. But I
Mm,
have to pay you this amount of money, which is a lot of money for you to just wait and see if I get in trouble so you can represent me.
mhm,
It doesn't make sense. So after that meeting, I remember I gave her two post-dated checks
mm,
for 250 each. I
mm,
left that office. 2 days later, I call her up. I said, "You know what? I'm not interested with your service anymore. I think
mm,
I'm gonna do this." Because I went home, I sat down and printed the instruction form. I
mm.
went through it one at a time. And
Okay.
when I get to the end, I was like, I can do this on my own. I don't need her to do, because all they'll be doing is filling out this information that I already have and I can do
Which
it.
you can be able to follow the instruction on the field.
Yes, yes. And this is not, it doesn't mean everyone else can do it. It just depends on how much you can understand, because there's some language in there that you may not understand. But
Yeah.
for me, I was like, I'm comfortable doing this given the knowledge that I have.
Okay.
So I called her. She was not happy about it. I remember she cashed one of the checks and she,
So it's a consultation fee because you
yeah,
had
she
already
said that
started.
is consultation fee. So I'm just
For,
going to
for the
cash.
service is already rendered.
Yeah, I mean, at first the consultation was free, but now she went ahead and cashed my check because
Mhm.
I was
Yeah,
empty, you know.
we do that. Okay.
And I was like, okay, you can do that, but here's the thing, I'm gonna do my thing on my own. So I submitted the paperwork. Within a few months, I got my green card, which was good. But then after that, continuously, everyone that I met, like, when you file for your citizenship, don't say you had kids, because when you file for your residency, you didn't say you had kids. I still didn't say I had kids.
Mhm.
So if you say you have kids during your citizenship, or they might not give you citizenship, they will take away your residency, they'll send you back to Kenya. So I was like, okay, well, that is scary. So I came here in 2009. So
Mhm.
2010, I got my green card. Um, 2011, 2012, 13, 14. I'm still scared. Like, what am I going to do? My
Mm,
kids are still in Africa.
mm.
15, 16, 17, 18. I said, you know what? If I
Mm.
have to be kicked out of the US and go to Kenya and stay with my kids, that's what I'm going to do.
You can do that.
At this point, I'm just going to file and I'm going to say I have kids. No, actually, that's not when I'll go back a little bit. I went for my citizenship in 2015.
Mm.
I remember when I was being interviewed, the lady who interviewed me, she asked me the question, "Do you have kids?" She asked me that question twice. The first time I said no. The second time, I said the Harry Mary, I said, I'm going to say I have kids. At this point, it doesn't matter. I said, yes, I have kids. She looked at me and she's like, I don't see any of that in your file. These people have your file.
Mm.
Whatever you said when you were coming in, they have that file. Until
Mm.
when you get your citizenship, they have that information. And like, I don't see any of that in your file. I was like, I do. I was like misinformed before. I didn't understand it. But I do have kids. And she's like, do you have proof, like a birth certificate or something? I was like, yes, I have birth certificate. And she was kind enough. This is what honesty can do to you sometimes. She was kind enough to put the interview on hold, and she told me, I'll give you a pass when you come in, because when you go to for the interview, your pass is the letter, the interview letter. So once they take the interview letter, you don't have a way to go out and come back in. So she gave me a pass, and told me, go run home and get those birth certificates, copies of them, and then I can put them in your file so that they're included that you have kids. And that is exactly what changed the narrative after that. After that, the
Well,
process,
you must have been lucky.
well, I won't call it lucky. I will say, when it comes to the American system, and the fact that I've learned being through the academy, honesty will set you free. They're not out to get you. They're just out to make sure that you're following the right procedure and processes to be able to acquire what you're looking for. They're not out to get you. Like, they're not, like, you saying you have kids, it's not the basis of you getting your citizenship. By
Well,
you not saying it, you're lying.
well, Esther, I have had more than 10 examples I can give you.
Okay.
The people who did not say they had kids
Uh-huh.
first, when
Uh-huh.
they were fighting for their citizenship, they said they have kids
Uh-huh.
and they are on the removal. Some of them have been, even the green card withdrawn from them, that they lied.
Well,
So we have
they need
many
to have
cases.
representation. They need to have the right representation. The lie stops at some point, and when that lie stops, and you have the correct representation, because again, I am not an attorney. I don't give legal advice, but what I can say is, when you have the correct representation, that is an arguable case. Why do I say that? Your citizenship is not based on you having kids or not having kids. Yes, you might have, there is language barrier. There's a lot that comes with that.
Well, giving you a very practical example,
Uh-huh.
someone went to interview, same way
Uh-huh.
you went, and he had said he has kids, but in during the time he was applying for green card, he never said that he had kids. So the same person in interview asked the same question like you, say,
Uh-huh.
okay, I'm going to put your things on hold. Go bring me. On the file, there was already birth certificate. He
Okay.
said, like the birth certificate from other countries where you get a birth certificate when you need it. You,
Yeah.
you really don't have to have it at birth in most cases.
Right.
So because the birth certificate were acquired in recent years, so he said, I would want some even hospital record
Right.
to prove that when they were born.
Right.
He the same brought those things on file, said, okay, I will respond. Then he gets a letter of removal that you lied first, that you didn't have kids. So you got the green card even through false pretense. So so your case might be just that you got somebody who was nice.
And again, I won't deny, or I won't say that is not the case, but here's what I'm going to say. With the correct and right representation, that person's case is arguable, and I hope he or she gets the right representation, because again, that him getting or her getting a citizenship or green card was never based on her or him having or not having kids. That was not the basis of them coming or being in the US. Or was it?
No, I mean, like everybody has his own case, but I tell you, people come through different ways. But
Yes,
once they arrive here, sometimes they are also given those voices. One thing you have talked about these voices which come.
they do.
Pseudo experts, they will tell you so many things. But
Yep,
on the same note of children, and this is the case, you understand where the systems we have come from.
yep, yep.
Let me take an hypothetical example. You had cohabited with someone, let me not call it marriage. Okay, we will call it marriage.
Hmm.
But marriage here, the way they define marriage is
Right,
different than
right,
other
right,
countries.
right.
You get, you have children with, they say a man, I have children with another lady, then I'm not legally married to this lady.
Hmm.
So I have no right to claim those children as mine.
Right, right.
You come, you go to the embassy, you say, do you have children? No. Then you come here, you have gone through the process, and I think now when you come here, you learn the lesson
Mhm.
that a child is a child is your child. There is no doubt in this
Right,
country. They
right,
don't give
right,
like other traditions.
right.
Now, when you decide to go back, that I want to fight for my children, it becomes an issue.
It
So
does.
in such a case, how can we make, now that you work as a migration consultant, to make this country also understand that when people say they don't have children, is because the laws in that country, the way they define a child is different.
And that's why I said with the correct representation,
Mm,
with the correct immigration, not just any lawyer, with the correct immigration lawyer, all those cases are arguable.
mm,
The fact that our culture and our tradition is different,
mhm,
the way we understand kids and the way they understand the kids, especially when you're not married, it's different. Like, for example, the culture where we come from, if I had
mhm,
kids as a woman, we were not married. I go my way with the kids, I
mhm.
get married to someone else, they're his kids, not yours.
Yeah,
So yes,
but unlike in this country, that is different. When
that's
you go with
different.
the kids
Yes,
always knows the father.
exactly. And that's why it comes down to the right and correct representation. That case is arguable.
So if somebody has an issue like that now, as you as a migration consultant, how would you help such a person?
I will help them get the right lawyer or representation to represent them and argue their case.
Okay,
Yep.
good. So um, so now that you have, what are some uh, of the issues you have seen that you can give people about immigration? Because there's a lot of voice
Yes.
people get, and they are immersed with this. And
It
what
is.
can you advise people how to navigate this
And
process?
I would say before you do anything, make sure you know what you're doing for one. If
Mm,
you feel like you're not comfortable with what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing, reach out. That's why we have people like me to
mhm,
consult with, so that you make sure that you are in the correct route and what you're doing is correct. Because as much as I'm not an attorney, I
mhm,
have a group of attorneys backing me up. Like if I had a question, like for example, I have a lady that has the same issue we were just talking about. She
okay.
came and she didn't say she had kids, and she came through the same program I did. And then now she has gotten a citizenship. She didn't mention anywhere she has kids. And she's like, now what do I do? Now, when I reached out to my attorney, this was just 3 days ago, and she's like, the lies end here.
Mm,
We have to finish the lies and we have to help her clean her record and then find a way forward for our kids. See what I mean?
yeah.
So at some point, you're gonna need to try and fix it and find the correct representation before you do anything. Don't, if you know your case is complicated in that manner, do
Mhm,
not try to do it on your own. Try to get the right people to back you up, to help
okay.
you process that the right way, because the moment you try to do it on your own, it's going to backfire,
Okay.
and that is when you end up in problems that you can't even fix at the end of the day.
Now, it's you come from Kenya. How
Yes.
did you manage to come as an asylee? Because relatively, people think that a country of Kenya is stable. There is no problem. How did you manage to come
i
as an
came
asylee?
I came as an asylee under my mother. So my mother acquired asylum while here, and then she filed for me and my siblings, and we came as asylee. But what you get when you come as an asylee, you just get traveling documents. You don't even get anything. When you get here, is when you start processing your paperwork.
But
So
already your mother had already processed everything.
no, she processed. She was given. She was given her own green card, but your individual green card as a child is separate. Even me, when I brought my kids here, even though when they crossed the border they're already citizens, I still
Mm.
had to apply for their passports or their naturalization certificate.
Wait a minute. You came through your mother
Yes.
and you got traveling papers
Yes.
to come, and then you start also filing your own petition.
Yeah, you have to petition for your own green card.
So what did you have to say? Because the story, your mother had already given a story. And
Yeah,
why?
my mother's already given a story. All I had to do is submit the paperwork, like, hey, I need a green card because I came here as an asylee under my mother. And they already had, so my mother's names are already on the form, so they already have our case file. So all they need to do is refer to the case file. And that's where it comes down, like a little bit. I wanted to talk about that 1 year window.
Hmm.
A lot of our people do qualify for that asylum, especially our mothers or fathers who come here. But
Hmm.
if they don't know that, people stay and then overstay the 6 months visit visa. And
Hmm.
then they end up like some go back, some come and hide and start babysitting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So instead of you doing that and you have left your kids back in Africa, for example,
Hmm.
it's good to explore that option and see if it works for you. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody,
Hmm.
but you never know that you will qualify if you don't ask, if you don't
Okay.
consult and find out if you do.
Good. So now, if you are giving somebody advice, I know there are many categories of
Yes.
visas, but let's specifically today talk about asylum. If somebody comes who wants to file asylum, what are some of the major steps, yeah, to follow until
Talk to
you?
a consultant right away so that they can figure out the right asylum. Asylum is not just one, that's an like an umbrella. Asylum
Mm-hmm.
is an umbrella of the different kinds of asylum that one can file. So
Mm.
talk to the right consultant and figure out which asylum fits you.
Okay.
Well, there is female genital mutilation that will cover some young people. That
Mm-hmm.
is like if you domestic violence that will cover men and women both.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many options when it comes to asylum, but you have to file under the correct
That's
category.
good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
and what are steps after that? The major milestone that somebody needs to know.
So
Yeah.
once you have established which one works for you, you will need the evidence, you need some things to back that up, and then
Mm.
you just submit the paperwork. And asylum, they respond back within a really short period of time. They don't take years to respond. That's the
Mm.
good thing about asylum. They
Mm.
respond within a very short period of time, and you're good to go. It doesn't take a year or two to do that.
But then now, if you have run away for asylum, you might not have some documents. You can't go back to the country of origin to get the documents. How do you go about it?
There's a difference between asylum and refugee, and I think you're talking about refugee.
Oh, yeah, I've never known a difference. Tell me,
There's a difference between refugee and asylum. So
in
those
what way is that?
at least refugee that is processed separately, and that is a topic for another day. Asylum, it's under the same heading, but asylum is separate from refugee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you are fighting for asylum, the burden of proof is you to prove that you suffered torture under the Geneva Convention, which torture can be physical, can be mental. Now, most especially when you are talking about like you come from a country which is relatively under the rule of law, and where but how do you prove the burden of proof of a torture? How
It's
can it
not
come
hard.
from?
It's not hard to prove that FGM exists in Kenya, is it?
Well, the government of Kenya has banned FGM. You
Yeah,
can go to
has banned it.
the
Well, it
government.
has banned FGM, but that doesn't mean there are some communities that are still doing it. It's against, but some communities are still doing it illegally, and they're forcing. It's like marriage to minor.
Mm.
It's the government of Kenya is against that, but we still have some community culture
Which continue to
which
do that.
continues to do it and allows it. So
Mhm.
that's another thing. You can run away from that, and US will protect you by providing you with asylum.
Mm.
So it doesn't mean if the government is against it, the entire community of the Kenyan country does that. You still can run away from that based on
But
your culture.
why is it hard? If you could have walked into that embassy in Kenya, telling them that I'm running away for this reason, I'm seeking asylum, they might not listen to you.
They won't listen to you. I've tried. Even myself, I tried when sometimes back,
Yeah.
my kids stayed with my dad when I was here, and he was in danger because from the community some stuff that was going on. So I feared for the life of my kids. I even
Mm,
had a police report. I went to the embassy, and I was already an American citizen. I went
mm,
to the embassy to talk to them. No one was listening to me. So
mm.
our Kenyan embassy, it's I don't even know what how they process things. I can't speak on their behalf, but they won't listen to you. Things are easily processed when you're here, especially to adjust that status, adjustment of status, it's easier for you when you're already in the US.
Okay. So, another question I wanted, there is that anxiety we are having here. Now, America, we are in an election year. There are so many information going around that, oh, if Trump becomes a president, oh, immigration is going to change. What can you say about that? Do you see it?
Migration is always changing with Trump or without Trump. That it doesn't with Trump or without Trump, it's changing. Like for
Yeah.
example, we
Mm,
have the fees going up in April. That has
mm,
nothing to do with Trump. Trump is not in office. The
mhm.
fees are going up. Immigration will change with or without. I mean, every president that comes in, they do use immigration as their campaign, one of their
Yeah.
campaign ideas. But immigration is a whole other animal. It's gonna change no matter what. And
Mhm,
yes, for example, I'll advise people if you haven't put in, if you have got into that 5 year mark and you need to file for your citizenship and you haven't done it, this year is the best year for you to do it. And I'll explain why.
mm,
The reason why is the election year, the citizenship is approved quick and fast
mhm.
because they need people to vote.
Yeah, it's not always like that. It depends who is in the power.
Not really. Every election year, this is something that I've tracked over time. Every election year, you apply for your citizenship, you're gonna get it within as short as the most is 3 months, but the process is fast
It's fast because they want people
because
to
they
vote.
need people to vote. They are
Okay.
proving those because they need people. Like for example, my son just got inaugurated yesterday.
Mm,
His application, he didn't even need to do that. We did it because he's in the military and they needed that certificate. When
mm,
we put in that last year, it showed that the wait time was 16 months. Okay.
mhm.
But before without us even noticing, because we say 16 months, that is almost 2 years. So we're just gonna ignore it.
So how old were your kids when they?
Well, my oldest was 15 when he came in, and my youngest was 12, but now he's 18 and they're all grown now and all that. But
And you had to go through naturalization.
well, because he was in the military, they applied for him because when he went in, anyways, the mistakes that we do that we don't know until we learn. When they came in, I applied for green card instead of applying for their naturalization certificate. So when he went into the military, they automatically process for you to get that
That
certificate.
is that's a point. Or if because when they came, you were already a citizen, right?
Yes,
And they were minors.
they were. So
You were only supposed to apply for them American passports,
correct.
and that's what many people don't know.
That's what many people don't know. Because I thought I knew what I was doing, I made that mistake.
Mhm,
Now I'm capable of guiding other people not to make the same mistake. Because
mhm.
I had to pay like $600 to get their green cards when I could have spent $200 to get their passport.
A passport.
Just
Right.
simple. And to add to that, since we're talking about citizenship for kids, now, for example, if you're an American, you're a citizen
Mhm,
and you have kids outside of the country that you gave back after you became a citizen, they
mhm.
are automatically citizens.
Yeah,
You don't,
that's one of the things that many people don't know.
yes, you don't have to go through the process of trying to apply for the I-130 and all that. All you
And,
need to do is,
and I wonder why even lawyers, even those who call themselves immigration lawyers, they don't tell you that.
Because are you going to give them money? They need money to survive in that business. If they give you all the secrets, then oh well.
Okay, well, that is very good. And so, what can you say? Tell people about it? Our time is we're getting over, but I want you to talk about care migration. What would you want people to do now that
So
you have
with
about?
Akio Immigration Consulting, we consult with all kind of immigration issues that you have. If we are not able to help, we'll find you someone who can. We'll
Mm,
find you a referral to someone who can. Now, one thing I wanted to touch a little bit, our main focus is not asylum, even though we made this about asylum today, but I thought it
mhm,
was a good topic. Our main focus is a visa called EB2 NIW. EB2 NIW is a kind of visa that you get from like outside the country. It's an
mm,
employment visa that needs a national interest waiver. What that means is you waive the need of having an employer to sponsor you in order for you to get that visa. And that visa covers your entire family if you have one. That is our main focus, and we help people who have high degree like masters and bachelors. If you have bachelors, have at
mhm,
least 5 years of experience, work experience. But if
mhm.
you have masters and PhD, we can work around that. And people with
Okay.
exceptional ability. With exceptional ability, what that means is you don't have to have your master's or bachelor's, but
Mm.
you can have an exceptional ability. You can be like an entertainer. You can be like with some kind of certificate that will help us request for that national
Oh,
interest waiver.
I, you mean people with extraordinary active that because there's an I know of O visa for extraordinary talent or something
There's
like
exceptional ability. Exceptional ability means that's has nothing to do with all visa. Now, this is a visa you get that turns when you get here, you get a green card automatically without needing an employer sponsorship. So there's an employment visa,
that. So how did you call it?
EB2 NIW,
EB2.
EB2.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So how do you
EB2,
apply that?
well, that is a tedious application, but in order for you to apply for that, that's where we really, really come in.
Okay.
It needs a lot of paperwork. It needs a lot of extensive work to be done by board attorneys and consultants and paralegals for
Mm,
that case to be put together to tell the US that, hey, this person has a
mhm,
special skill that the US needs.
mm,
We are requesting you to waive the need of having an employer sponsorship sponsor this person to get a visa, but
mm.
give them a visa directly instead.
So if I get somebody who's a specialist in playing a flute, can he qualify under that category?
We'll have to sit down and consult with them and see what they have done. Have they gotten any awards on that? I mean, you
Okay.
gotta have some commendations, awards, and stuff like that. Like, how far have you gone with your exceptional ability?
Well, that is something we need to talk next time. I think
Yes,
you have very good ideas.
yes.
Our time is gone. We can do this, and anybody who needs some immigration issues, you can listen to Esther. So next time you are going to talk
About
about
the
that visa.
EB2
It's very
NIW.
interesting.
Yes, yes. And that was like I just wanted to be the last point because we need to have another one of this so we can talk more about immigration because it's a big
Yeah,
topic.
that's very good. We will talk next time.